Good morning, and thank you for being with us on UBC TV. We appreciate those that have been with us from the hour of 6:30 till now, and of course those that will continue. Uganda Broadcasting Corporation is a TV of your choice, and we are out here to inspire Uganda. Now, welcome to Good Morning Uganda Extra, which is an extension of Good Morning Uganda. But every day I never get tired to remind you that we start at exactly 6:30 with the Fantastic Four and a very big team behind the scenes to ensure that we come to you live and the way that really is worth you watching us, because it is a mixture, very interesting discussions, yet very informative as well. It's the only show that will enable you kickstart your day a very informed person, because look at what is happening locally and also look at what is happening internationally, but also have some light moments here and there on issues of national interest. Now, thereafter, we come with Good Morning Uganda Extra, and this morning I have the resident city commissioner, that is for Rubaga Division, Anderson Burora. You're most welcome to our studios this morning.
Thank you, sir.
I'm happy to have you every time I have a representative of His Excellency, because resident city commissioners are representatives of the President of the Republic of Uganda in those particular areas. Now, we know that tomorrow we expect His Excellency to update the nation on the progresses we've made, the challenges in the State of Nation address. Now, I know there have been a number of reactions, expectations, but first let's begin by understanding this is a constitutional mandate, but what is it? What is the relevance of this State of Nation address? Every year before we have the budget, we have His Excellency come, then talk. What's the intention and purpose from it being the Constitution?
Now, this is, do you know a map?
Yes, I did a bit of geography.
What is a map?
Basically, it gives direction.
A map is something seen from above. So if you see a map, depending on where you are, you may not know what is happening where you are not. And you may think that what is not happening around you is happening nowhere else. So that is why it is the state of the nation. And that is why sometimes I get surprised when MPs, some elements of the members of the opposition, when they say we are not going to attend
the State of Nation address.
State of the nation. Because that gives you the sound, the feeling of what is happening around. And it informs you of how the country is functioning or moving. In all aspects, but sometimes what unites all of us. So it gives you the statistics to know how the economy is sounding, how the security. Because today you may be here at, let me say for example, this village where UBC is, and you think you have enough security. But what is going to affect your security will come from, for example, Namuongo. But you don't know what is happening in Namuongo. Also, because we need to get an update as a country. Where are we positioned in terms of the geopolitics? Sometimes people are not interested in terms of the economy, in terms of health, in terms of democracy, in terms. That's why it is the president is supposed to be heard in silence. So you have to listen carefully. Then later you can come and retaliate on what he has talked about. So the State of the Nation is supposed to address the people of Karamoja, not Sabagabo alone. It is supposed to address the people of Gulu, the people of Kisoro, the people of Maraba, the people of Karangala and Buvuma and everywhere. So everyone watches to understand how far we have moved as a nation, not as a district. not as a constituency, not as a region, but as a nation. For you to understand that, yes, we may be here crying for potholes, for example, in Kampala. But then when you see a report of Bunyoro sub-region, the construction that is taking place, or when you see what is happening in Arua, for example, in terms of roads construction, then you can say, okay, as much as these potholes have an effect on our cars, but at least something is being done somewhere else. Or maybe the monies that could have been doing business here is doing business elsewhere because we need the same services. Or you may be there, you have relatives in, for example, in Acholi. You have been having issues of network, ICT. So the State of the Nation address, they inform you that the coverage of ICT in this region is at this percentage. So now that gives you the idea of saying, okay, maybe, also in planning, you can start saying that maybe in 3 years, if I am coming from Padel, there have been shortages of ICT, which is another investment opportunity that I can take advantage of. We also have hope, because this is supposed to give people hope. We have done this. The only challenge we have that I have seen with our government is that it does not want to share the challenges it is going through with the population. So the population is expectant and no one is giving them an answer. Whereas it would be plausible and important to move with them. Say, you know what, here we have a hiccup. This road will wait for this long, other than keeping it there. Or, this, for example, you remember we had an exhibition of this Twitter, social media, exhibition of the security, the state of the security. Some were bringing the Uniport, some were bringing pictures, oversized uniforms. Those, but you see, they forget what is the inspiration behind the barracks not constructed, for example. And the inspiration is the president is saying no. Instead of making soldiers comfortable in the barracks, subsidize on building materials, so that they get these building materials at a subsidized fee, so that they can construct their own homes.
So after retirement, they have a back
retirement, you have your home. They are not just sending you away from. And when I checked, about 15,000 people had benefited
from that.
So now, if you have 15,000 people, briefly, because this is also one of the state of the nation, it may not be in the president's speech, but I'm representative, and if you have 15,000 out of about 48, and 15,000 have been able to be inspired to construct their own homes, that is a very, very, very big achievement. I asked prisons. Prisons said almost everyone has benefited, apart from those ones who are still training. So you see, some inspirations might be silent, but they are of impact. But we have not communicated. And it has left a very big gap to say there may be a welfare shortage, which is not true, but also which is partly true. So addressing certain things, like the president's call sometimes is there are interventions, and they are mainstream things like salary increments. Those are mainstream and they cut across. But there are interventions that should help people to stabilize, and they cut across and they help everyone, and everyone can access it. So to me, I think we need to revisit the idea of moving with the population, of moving with people.
people understanding what exactly
Yes,
is happening.
they should know what
I
to
think
expect.
of late we've seen His Excellency more so with social media, a number of issues. If he's not spoken at a function on a burning issue, then he will go to his Twitter handle.
Yes.
And you'll find some clarification, some explanation, and I find that very, very good, because most of the times people are waiting. What is the big man going to say on such an issue? Why is he silent?
And the moment people start waiting for him, it is a vote of no confidence in the brothers.
Sure.
You get it? That the brothers, the ministers, the permanent secretaries, and all these representatives of the people are not talking to them. So they remain in a balance. For example, why would we wait for a manifesto week for us to know what the ministry has done or is doing? What are you doing in silence? Why do we have to wait for once a year for us to know how the manifesto is being implemented in all sectors? There is a very big budget of communication. Why aren't people communicating? Why aren't we talking to people? Why do we have to get surprised when someone makes a tweet that is challenging? Then it is when you have to come up to say that is not true. Then you provide information. Why should we reach to that extent? If this information was in the mainstream, it would help the president actually to have minimal answers. But now we are tiring him to make him as if he has not performed.
Well, there is a belief that lack of independency of people in some of these offices, that you can't trust their says, their directives as final. Everything has been centered now to HE, that most of people, or they either make consultations, so we wait. I'll give you an example, a very simple one. Recently we have about 2 hospitals that have been disconnected with water supply. We have the China-Uganda Friendship Hospital, Naguru. Then yesterday, Entebbe Hospital. But much as we've had the PS come up, the Director of Health Services, and the people still are saying, no, the president should intervene in this. You know, because they believe the likes of Burora, the likes of commissioners, they don't get things moving. It's the big man that institutional functionality has been amalgamated into one person that reigns over.
My friend, why would you involve the president in paying water bills? These are priorities. There are things we should not even have a discussion about. Electricity bills, water bills, oxygen, medicine. Those are things we shouldn't even temper thinking about missing in a budget or delaying to acquire or to procure. That is the lifeline. You cannot have a hospital without water. No. You cannot have a hospital without electricity, because all your machines operate on electricity. So why would you have a budget, you have priorities, you have suppliers that you know. Why wouldn't you even, if you know, why wouldn't you even advance? Aren't there activities that are not critical to these hospitals that have been cleared for payment? They are there. Why not water? That is mismanagement. Let me tell you, it's not only mismanagement, but it is failure. It is failure in the management of those institutions.
They are given less.
No, even if you are given less, leave the rest. Let the rest stand. Be on a standstill. You hold until we get, but let the lifeline of the hospital function. So I think that is on a failure of these administrators to prioritize. I'm asking you, aren't there other services not critical to these institutions that have been paid?
They could be.
They Could be. And this bill is an accumulation. It's not 1 month.
One has 1.3 billion, the other has 488 million.
Yeah, it is an accumulation. It's not 1 month. It is maybe you will find that these are 6 months. They are being priced.
Or even 2-3 years.
Yeah, because you cannot have a bill of 1 month and you are disconnected. We all have water bills. We all pay water bills at home. It is until it is at a point whereby one is seeing some sort of compliances. So how can you fail to pay 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months? That is a quarter. So in the entire quarter, you fail to realize how you can reduce or pay some of the payments. That is what I was telling you. That is abusing the president. And let me tell you, there are some cartels. Cartels operate in such a manner that they can choose to be political. And they are within institutions. They have built a network in institutions. And they can fail a government. They can discredit a government.
Of course, this is a discredit. How do you have 2 hospitals?
But the president is going to talk about, is going to speak about the state of the nation.
Tomorrow. And this entire week.
And then this whole week.
We are talking about hospitals.
We are talking about disconnecting water. And we think it is not intentional. Some things are just psychological. They are logical. Some people, I think there are people who work in government who think that they can always blackmail the president. Or they can always, at some point, because by the time the president is going to speak about the state of the nation, all institutions now would be working to exhibit what the president is going to say. Right now, all should be sound. No PS would be sleeping now or would be out of office at this particular moment of today. No minister would be traveling out. No RDC would be seated in office. Why? The president is going to speak about major achievements. That's 1. 2, is going to give confidence to the population. 3, is going to tell them that this is how far we have come. You cannot tell them that we have improved medical or the health system, infrastructure, when he has failed to pay water bills, electricity bills. Because when a ministry fails, it's the president who has failed. No one is, the population gave trust and confidence to the president. So he's supposed to be assisted. So these ones failing to pay water bills, they are trying to maybe create an impression, which is not true. Can a government fail to pay 500 million?
Well,
a ministry.
Allow me go for a short break. I'm still with the resident city commissioner for Baga, Anderson Burora, with whom we are discussing the State of the Nation address, which is tomorrow. And of course, we are still looking at how relevant its intentions and its purposes. Now, when we return from this break, we want to look at some of the key burning issues that the president may, because we do not preempt His Excellency's speech, but what are some of the touching issues that we expect Ugandans are eager to hear the president speak about them? We'll return shortly.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Juko.
Yo.
Wachikuwa. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Uganda wange, haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a poultry project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief, and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government, designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
The Magical Egypt Tour 2023 is here. A heavenly miracle waiting across the natural and divine attractions of Egypt, such as Cairo, Giza Pyramids, Saqqara, Memphis, and many more that will offer the gift of a lifetime. The chance to unlock all of the hidden powers of mind and soul, gain the enlightenment of the past and the future, and develop the power of healing. Departure will be Friday 16th up to 23rd June 2023. Basic package starting at $1,200, 8 days and 7 nights. To register, come to Gotove Tours and Travel at Nalukwago Complex Suta, UG Extender, George Street, Nakasero, or call +256 758 530 059 or +256 784 568 392 or WhatsApp +256 782 556 078. Only few slots are left. Powered by UBC Television.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda Extra.
Welcome back from that break, and thank you for keeping it with us here on UBC TV. It is Good Morning Uganda Extra. In case you've just joined, I'm Robert Kirabo Nyonyintono, and I have the resident city commissioner for Rubaga, one of the 5 divisions that make up Kampala, Anderson Burora, with whom we are looking at the State of Nation address that is slated for tomorrow by His Excellency, who will be addressing the nation and of course telling us how far we have moved, and of course the challenges, and giving a general picture of the country. Now, before we went for the break, we were looking at what is the purpose, despite this being a constitutional mandate, but what is the purpose and why shouldn't one miss the State of Nation address? Now, we want to look at some of those issues that Ugandans are eager to hear from His Excellency, and is at his liberty to choose what he discusses or what he informs the nation. But
it's not at his liberty. It is at the interest.
It is at the interest
of the public.
Of the public.
Yes.
Okay. Because you know, when we were in school, there's what we would call sporting, but you would be outsported. Sometimes you feel maybe this is an issue he should talk about, and doesn't surface among the issues that he talks about. Yeah. Now, this time around, we have a number of issues. We have one we've just talked about. It's raising public eyeballs. We have the Somalia, yes, he has talked about it. Somehow we have the element of poverty among communities. When you move around, we have a little bit of issues of insecurity amongst the public. As we were talking about this police officer fired, then recently we saw a clerk to a certain law firm that is in Machindi Sabagabo being gunned down. A number of these, but I want to get it from you. What are some of those that you think he could really not miss hitting about?
Well, the issues of poverty, I think through his wise and visionary leadership, people have for long downplayed the issue of parish development model. Now, parish development model turns out, and that is why the opposition is up in arms with it, because it is addressing challenges that have for long been silent. We always have based our statistics on UBOS, and for which theirs it is sometimes sampling. It does not expand or move like, you see, wildfire. is so systematic that it leaves nothing behind. It burns whatever it can reach, green or brown, dry or So PDM is like wildfire. Why and how? Why? It is because right now, you see, before we would call people, government yalese or government brought this in the, you come and ask. So you get some seriously motivated goons or organized groups coming up to come and request for this money, which is meant for the poor, but it is taken by the organized. We used to have community-based organizations whereby about 10 people would come. You find the DC, the journalist, the cameraman, the cleaner coming to form a group. They don't share values at the same at all. So when they get money, because they don't share values, they end up sharing the money. If it was 10 millions and they are 12, so everyone is going to take about 800 or 900, depending. So that money becomes useless and it is put to waste. So government lost a lot of money. Through that, it was mitigated by a myoga, whereby people who have the same understanding, who have similar challenges, who suffer from the same issues. If you are border, your problem is one. If it is spare parts, that is it. If it is driving license, that is it. If it is stages, that is it. If it is police, same thing. So that was mitigated, though somehow a few people tried to sabotage it. But now PDM addresses household level. Household, not individuals and sporting or identifying or people organizing to come, no, household level. Now that explains that the reality now is that people are getting in touch with the government directly through their leaders. So now we need to find out the report of the Secretariat. How many households have they identified?
In this
in the medical terms, there is what they call diagnosis. When they diagnose you of cancer, they can't prescribe for you medicine for malaria. Now, the levels that so far we have been able to pick should inform us how best to budget, how best to allocate funds, and how all these MDAs should respond. Unfortunately, these reports are delinked from the mainstream, the all MDAs. They still work in isolation, but they should have been working in response. Now I heard them talk about program-based budgeting.
Yes.
We are yet to know whether such reports such as, for example, PDM, such as security. The other thing, if we have time, that I will talk about will be environment and employment, are linked to the budget. That is what we need now to see.
If all that you've talked about are not linked to the National Development Plan 3, then how do you bring them to the budget?
No,
they're not in tandem.
The National Development Plan 3 is so holistic that it brings out everything, but it is left in the shelves.
Because why am I
when
saying
budgeting comes?
When you read the National Development Plan 3, a document I interested myself in reading so much, and you look at the budget for 2023-2024, you look at the allocations, they don't sit, they're not in tandem.
That is my problem. That is what I was saying. MDAs, that is ministries, departments and agencies, ought to pick interest in their budgeting. But at this particular moment, the interest they pick is on how best as a ministry they can perform, not as a government. They forget that a ministry is a sub-component of a government, complementing one another. That budgeting should begin one. You see, the budget conference we have these days, it starts at the parishes.
Yes.
That is wrong. That is wrong. First of all, the MDAs would first sit and they link all of these things into one. I am budgeting for this. How is it linked to ICT? Defense, what is your contribution in this budgeting? How do we link this? Agriculture, how does defense, because you hear, our things are stolen. These, we are doing this. How do we link ICT, defense, agriculture, trade, energy, transport, environment, water, because they all move hand in hand. That where you see defense, there is energy, there is agriculture, there is ICT to complement, there is trade to enable, so either to create circles or to look for markets. But even our markets sometimes get flooded because we did not predict. You have more than what you didn't expect, and the market is the market prediction is Uganda will produce, let me say, 100 million bunches, and we get shocked that we have 3 million bunches.
I don't have where to sell the surplus.
So you don't have where to sell the surplus. Why? We are linked.
So you believe
parish development model
yes,
is key. You cannot talk about anything in this country right now without addressing the issues raised by the parish development model report.
Briefly, and I want us to be very brief on this as we respond to this question. When we talk about the parish development model, you know, the foundation of everything determines its success.
Yeah.
Anderson, do you feel we got things right from the initial layout and the foundation of this program since it was launched on the 26th in Chikube?
Yes, I think the foundation any foundation has planning. Now the planning and the construction and this, all of this is based on sensitization. I don't think he would go anywhere in this country. You see, the president is the chief mobilizer and sensitizer. And he has talked about parish development model over and again. So sensitization now, everyone knows about it. If you put there someone called parish development model, I think someone can tell. Now, what we need to know, what we need to have emphasis on.
Everyone has heard of it.
Yes.
Hearing and knowing.
It is like
because even I know of political leaders who don't understand.
It is what, this is what I was trying to come to. It is like an aeroplane. Everyone has seen it, everyone knows it, but not everyone has entered it.
Yes.
No one does it. No one actually knows even how it looks like. Okay, one may have seen on TV, on screens and what, but they have not have that real feel. Now, this plane that everyone knows is the one we want to know, everyone to know what is inside it. And we need to thrive to ensure that everyone is aware of what is inside this plane called the parish development model. It is not true that at this moment everyone could be having. You see, it has a component called mindset. Now, mindset is something you work on over time.
One of the 7 pillars.
Yes. It is, people say parish development model is financial inclusion. No, that is a small thing. It has health issues in it. It has education. It has infrastructure. It has production. It has agriculture. It has the chain, the main chain of production in it, of whatever is done. So it is not about the financial inclusion And the people waiting for money alone. I was speaking to some of the people in Rubaga and I told them the financial inclusion is just a crystal of the entire system.
Unfortunately, it is what has piqued more
Yeah,
interest
and that is
above all and where the worry is. But leaving that for now, we are still looking at the State of Nation address where I expect His Excellency tomorrow to be delivering that to the nation. Now, we've talked about one that we think may not miss, which happens to be the parish development model, but let's also look at element of security. And I'm happy that RCCs, RDCs are the chairperson of security committees in the area where His Excellency deemed it fit for them to be his representatives. Now, this is also another aspect that I'm sure Ugandans maybe are waiting for. I remember about 3-4 years were they doing the State of Nation address when the president came out with measures to improve such that had LDUs, installation of cameras, standby, not forced but standby, is it group at every police station that would be in case of anything they could react very fast. And over a time, most of the shootings we've seen this year, these have been questioned.
Well, I think we are misplacing issues. The challenges we've had of recent are targeted crimes. Hey, one would say organized crime. Now, organized crime is hard to fight because as it is organized. It is you pursuing me for some reasons. Sometimes such crimes are not mass crimes, but they are targeted. Now that, to mitigate that, you need a lot of infrastructure in place. But also the infrastructure is not to stop, is to minimize. For example, if you are going to commit a crime in an area, and it turns out that it has turned to be a community challenge. For example, you are shooting people in numbers. How do we stop that? Or how is that stopped? That is what the infrastructure stops you from. But the challenge we are experiencing now of these targeted crimes, these are challenges we have to be cautious about. Most especially you, the individual. If you are involved in certain things, or if you are relating with certain people, how do you handle such a situation? If you are dealing with soldiers, for example, you are dealing with armed people, who detects the mental health or the mental illness? Is it someone absent or is it someone present? You who is being serviced with this service, what is your contribution towards understanding and facilitating to the steadiness of the mental illness or the mental challenges of this person? If someone told you, I am sick, and he's your bodyguard, what do? Do you back at him? You are not supposed to get sick. You are not supposed to do this. You are a soldier. Or you find ways through which you can make him comfortable. If he said, I lost someone, if he said, I have a sick child, do you tell him that is up to you, that is none of my business? So the relations are important in most cases whereby we have other people we are dealing with. You are Emmanuel, and I'm sorry to talk about this.
Yes.
Someone comes with a gun. Don't you have to employ your senses to see how best you can handle a situation? How do you, because this is about logic and psychology. You understand? If I came, if someone entered there, I had I read a lot and I watch a lot of things. So one was teaching about self-defense. So he was saying there is an armed person engaging an armed person, but one aims faster. than the other. So this was the best way to control this is either to surrender. But if I aim faster than you, you cannot aim faster, fastest maybe, if I may say. So all of these things we're experiencing, some are a failure to read and understand the circumstances under which you are in. Communities, if you have challenges in communities that are security related, how do we mitigate them? We have so many young people who are our own children who have turned to be drug addicts. What do you expect to come from a drug addict? For example, if I put there a lawyer, a doctor, a teacher, and a drug addict.
This one is more vulnerable
So
to
if I ask the outputs, none of these will be as a result of crime. But when you reach at a drug addict,
the chances
because
are
their senses, their reactions, their thinking is compromised. That is one. Two, their actions require that they are isolated, because no one is going to wish to interact with them just because of who they are. They end up isolated somewhere. Now, if they are isolated, they are disconnected from the general demands of the public. The workforce, no one will want to employ a drug addict. No one will want to deal with a drug addict apart from themselves. So if these people who are drug addicts are disconnected and they are disjointed from the community, what do you expect them to do?
resort to crime.
Resort to crime.
Well, time seems to be moving. Let me just have your final remarks to Ugandans regarding tomorrow's
So the other thing we didn't talk about that is pertinent, I would have even 6 or 7 hours to talk about, is the issue of environment.
Yesterday was World Environment Day,
the
and His
issue
Excellency had a very good message for Uganda.
Of environment, we need to take it cautiously. The National Health Services of the UK, which is the Ministry of Health of UK, about 20 years ago realized that the cost of mitigating tobacco-related cases was high compared to what they were getting from the taxes and what. All the products on the market, we need to realize the effects and the benefits as a country. When we realize the effects, they are much more than the benefits. Then we need to mitigate. As we speak now, Kampala gets water from Mukono. Yet Kampala is surrounded by water. Do you expect the costs of water to go down? When the costs of producing water from Mukono to Kampala are high? And what is that? Environmental degradation.
Pollution everywhere.
Pollution everywhere. Two, we need to come to terms with the reality that we can no longer have factories, industries in the same area with the residential areas. That's why everyone is saying, no medicine in the hospitals. Why aren't we investing in preventive measures? Ministry of Trade will give a license. Me, I have given you. Now you go to NEMA to give you an impact assessment plan. But none of them is going to consult the Ministry of Health to tell them that this carbon you are going to produce here has an effect on the lives of people. So you end up the disconnection I was telling you about in the MDAs. So we have so many sick people, allergies, cough, cancer, this and that, because of pollution. So how are we going to have enough medicine to treat the entire population on the lack of oversight, of failure to plan and place whatever is supposed to be in its own area? So we are facilitating the sicknesses instead of preventing them. And we need to come to assess ourselves, everything. Otherwise, if we don't address the issues, lastly, people who ran away from Rera, Katonga, they are now here in Chitubulu, Chitinda. They are dredging sand everywhere. Now you have only one airport, you have one road to the airport, and you are creating similar cases that happened in Rera. Not even a month.
Very interesting, because when there was a time also that area around
almost flooded.
Almost flooded.
And we are not interested in understanding the effect of this to the economy. You have one international airport.
RCC, I must invite you for a talk over that, because I'll still question where the authorities, and among the authorities I'll consult or be concerned if they're not acting, would be the likes of RCCs and RDCs. But thank you so much for your time, and of course our viewers, I cannot forget to thank you for being with us all the way from 6:30 when you opened up with Good Morning Uganda till now Good Morning Uganda Extra, which is an extension. Robert Kirabo wishing you a lovely day. Do not miss the State of Nation address. Will be live on UBC TV, as His Excellency is updating the nation on the progress made and of course what is happening. See you tomorrow, God willing. God bless you.